So this is a special episode of Epiphany Media. We got a special guest in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
How you guys doing? My name is Mark Stillion. I am a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I served from 2006 to 2010. Did 2 combat tours with the Marine Corps, and then I got out of the Marine Corps in 2010, and I did 2 additional tours as a civilian contractor with the Department of Defense. And I'm here today representing an organization that I'm a part of. It's called Wild Ops.
Good deal. Man, so first off, I want to talk, I guess, a little bit about your service and then how you got affiliated with like Wild Ops. Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, like I said, my service was in the Marine Corps. I was a tank crewman on M1A1 main battle tank during my time of service. During my time of service, it was really a pretty good time for the most part. Deployed twice to Iraq. But for overall, my experience in the Marine Corps was pretty good. The effects of what I experienced overseas, however, really hit me kind of hard, after I came back, several months after I came back. In fact, about 6 months after my last deployment overseas, I really started to battle post-traumatic stress disorder pretty hard. Really started to struggle in life all around. My mental health was in a serious decline. And I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder by the Department of Veterans Affairs. And within 6 months of returning home, I was a full-blown drug addict. And that behavior continued on for about 6 years before I was able to actually get some help for my post-traumatic stress disorder and also for my addiction. And so, there was a series of unfortunate events that were very fortunate for me that led me to my recovery. Very grateful for, all the people who have, played a part in my recovery. But basically, a long story short, I was in rehab at the West Los Angeles VA Medical Center for my addiction and for my PTSD. And while I was there, I was paid a little visit by the FBI. And to make a long story short, I was arrested on a grand jury federal indictment. And, this was for a drug crime that I had committed back in 2015. And so this really kind of set me in an even more so downward spiral. I was addicted to drugs. Now I'm locked up in prison, and you're really just kind of hopeless. This is, part of the suicidal stage that I went through for a short period of time. And I got out of prison and was sent directly to treatment. My case was picked up by an amazing organization from upstate New York called the New York Veterans Defense Program. And they advocated for me, and they were able to defend my case and prove that my mental health condition was directly related to my addiction, and that I needed treatment diversion instead of jail time. So I spent about a year in recovery in inpatient treatment down in Houston, Texas. I was in inpatient treatment at the PTSD Foundation of America for almost a year down there. And I graduated that program in December of 2019. And I moved back home here to Ohio. Before I was living in Los Angeles, but moved back home here to Ohio. And within a few months after returning back home, I found Wild Ops, or actually Wild Ops found me. And they invited me. I was still in early recovery, and I was still battling post-traumatic stress disorder, and that lack of purpose, that a lot of veterans find themselves in. You go into the military and you create this bond with a band of brothers, and that those brothers become your family for so long, and you fight next to them and you sleep next to them, and sometimes you see them die next to you. And, the bond that's created there is very, very, very closer than anything that I've ever experienced before. So when a lot of veterans get out of the military, they lose that sense of belonging, and they lose that sense of purpose. And that was one of the things that happened to me. And so I was still dealing with this. Even after I had gotten out of treatment, I was back here in Ohio, and still dealing with some of these effects of PTSD. And Wild Ops found me, and they invited me to come out on a 6-day trip with them, fully paid for. And that trip absolutely changed my life. Not only was I able to, get away from home for a little bit and spend some time in the outdoors, but I was able to meet a group of guys who I've been, consistently in touch with ever since, my trip was over, which was over a year ago. And ever since I got back from that trip, I've just been a huge advocate for this organization. And as of last October, I actually joined their leadership team. And so now I'm on the leadership team of Wild Ops, and I advocate for them. And up here in Ohio, my goal is to find those at-risk veterans that were just like me. A few years ago, I was at the bottom of the barrel, IV drug using, suicide, that was me. And I try to find guys like who I was, and I tried to get them out on a Wild Ops trip. And that's what Wild Ops is all about. Wild Ops is a faith-based organization, and we exist to find at-risk veterans who, don't know where to go, don't know where to turn, or looking for that camaraderie, or looking for that sense of purpose again. And we invite them out on a fully paid for trip. And during that trip, we facilitate a program of healing, a faith-based program where we introduce them, to God and to Jesus Christ, and we just we build that bond, and we build that relationship back up. And so yeah, that's a little bit about myself. I know that's a really long, drawn out answer for your question, but
it's fine.
It was that was very interesting. I was listening to everything that you said, because it's a crazy story, but it turned out for the better.
Yeah,
because being able to help somebody it's a feeling that's unmatched. That's very, very, very interesting.
Especially people from like a similar background that might have had the same struggle. Like you like just your journey from being in the military to like you said, coming home and drugs and just everything. Like, but that journey, like you can identify, with people that got a similar background to you. So, man, that's quite a journey that you've been through already. But now to be able to give back, be on the leadership board and actually, be on the hunt for these people who, could definitely need the help for sure.
Yeah. It definitely, just to touch on what you just said, Manuel, that's one of the things, not everybody has a passion to help other people, but God placed that passion in my heart. And I firmly believe that, God took me through, a dark patch in my life so I could come out on the other end and I can be the person that helps. Right now I'm currently in grad school working on my master's in clinical mental health counseling, and I'm a licensed addictions counselor, So, I mean, just looking back at where I was and where I'm at today, I can really see the purpose and why I went through what I went through.
So let me ask you this. So you're having a 5K. So what is this event? What does it benefit? Is it, for more,
Yeah, so on April 30th, we are having a 5K fundraiser. Wild Ops is having a 5K fundraiser. It's in partnership with the Kent State University Veterans Club, and we are trying to raise money for Wild Ops. One of our trips that we take veterans out on costs about $25,000, and we have 12 trips planned for this year. As a matter of fact, we got guys out right now that are right in the middle of the trip right now out in Tennessee. We've already had one completed trip last month, and we got about 10 more to go this year alone. So we're trying to raise money for our mission. Like I said, Wild Ops is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and so we rely on the support of donors and our those who are supporters, those who believe in our mission. And so that's what the 5K race is for, is to raise money for that.
That's great.
That's so good. like every organization kind of focuses. Like, do you guys have any? I don't want to necessarily call them specialties, but like is it? Do you guys like? I guess more towards the mental health stuff, more towards the like drug prevention. I know it kind of all overlap, you know, to some extent or whatever. But and I'm sure when you guys go on these trips that you know you're doing everything. You know, but like do the Wild Ops have like a specialty or one way that they lean a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the short answer is yes. You know, our specialty is veterans. The long answer, but you know, anybody who knows the veteran community knows that, like you just said, you know, there's so many things that overlap with the veteran community with trauma. You know, whether that be addiction and trauma or, you know, suicide and trauma, you know, there's so many different things that can overlap in the veteran community. And so our focus is we try to reach the highest risk veteran that we can find. And we invite them out on these trips. You know, a lot of the guys that we speak to or invite to come out on these trips are, you know, suicidal. A lot of the guys who have come out on our trips, you know, just got out of a hospitalization for suicide risk or suicide attempt. A lot of the guys are, you know, early in recovery, like I was. A lot of the guys are you know, still battling addiction and aren't, you know, quite ready to, you know, to commit to something like what Wild Ops has to offer. But, you know, to answer your question, we see it all. You know, at Wild Ops, you know, we see it all, and we have a team that we have trained suicide prevention guys on our team. We have, you know, like myself and a few others. Right now, I'm, you know, like I said, in the school for clinical mental health counseling, and that's going to be a huge asset to our organization once I've completed my my degree and everything. But, you know, the best thing, one of the biggest things that we have to offer is we're a veteran peer-to-peer program. You know, it's veterans taking veterans out, and you know, so that has a lot of strength to it. You know, being able to sit around a fire, you know, on the side of a lake or in the mountains somewhere, and chit chat about, you know, your experiences overseas. It has some power. There's some power to it.
Let people know that they weren't the only one that experienced those things. You know, everybody's experiencing that.
Yep, you're absolutely right. That's the thing too. You know, a lot of times these guys think, you know, that they're the only ones that feel this way, you know. And so getting them around other like-minded individuals, like-minded veterans, and hearing their stories and being able to openly share their story, it is a healing process that takes place that is just, I can't really put into words.
Man. I always think that, like, I have a sister, she's a vet, and last year she started her nonprofit, and she does she does all type of stuff, and hers is broadened past just veterans or whatever. But I always think that people who like served, you know, especially like active or overseas, like the perspective that you guys have, like is unlike anything else. You know, like it's nothing that, no matter how my life experiences are, I can't relate to, you know, the things that you experience over there. You know, in the same way, like you said, you know, watching people, you know, people that you sleep next to for months or years, and people that you're just in contact with constantly. Like that perspective is just something that's, you know, so rare amongst like civilians. Like just that point of view that you guys have is unlike anything else I've ever experienced. And talking with vets, I've worked with vets for a long time, and you know, I've heard many stories, but that point of view is just like every time I'm amazed. You know, every time I hear a story, I'm amazed every time.
Yeah, I mean, you and me both. You know, to be honest, I mean, like I said, you know, like I just said, I mean, I am a veteran myself, but you know, part of my work with Wild Ops is I get to talk to veterans, these veterans, you know, who are applying for our trips and, you know, who are going through our vetting process. We have a very strenuous vetting process. You know, we want to make sure that who we're taking out on these trips are the guys who need the most, and the guys who, you know, we don't want nobody coming into our program who has stolen valor or something like that. So we have a very tight knit, vetting process for wild ops. And for any veteran who might be out there who's hearing this and might think, that I need something like that, wildops.org, you can submit an application, and you can begin this process for any veteran. It's open to any veteran, and the entire program is completely free to the veteran. So. But even like I was saying, even me, I get to talk to these guys all the time, and I'm still blown away by some of the stories I hear. I experienced trauma overseas, but some of the stories that I hear blow me away sometimes, and it brings me to tears sometimes.
Yeah. After I seen that movie, Restrepo, I was like, wow, yeah. It's like deep how it just changes you.
Man.
Yeah, that's why I salute any veteran that I meet, because I don't, me personally, I don't know if I could do that.
Man, talk about sacrificing. So I've seen. So I was just looking around on some of you guys' pages online. I seen you guys had like other things that you guys are doing at the same time, like as the race approaches. I see you guys have. Well, I talked to you, and you said that you were doing speaking engagement at VFWs. I seen. I guess you guys are sponsoring. I don't know if it's you guys. I want to be clear, but maybe like it was like a rigatoni dinner, like a dinner at a VFW or something. Like, so I'm just interested in any other, like, what other things do you guys have like going on as the race is approaching?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and I appreciate you bringing this up. So Wild Ops is constantly, first of all, we're constantly trying to get the word out there about our organization and about the program that we offer. We've seen, we've been in existence for just a little over 5 years now, and we've seen how much of an impact it has had on the lives of dozens and dozens and dozens of veterans who've gone through the program. And it's not just one and done. You don't just go on a trip and then you're done. We keep in contact with you. We have alumni group meetings where we meet, twice a month, and we bring the alumni, we invite the alumni in for group meetings. We're planning different things right now for our alumni. So, the things that you might have seen online, such as the rigatoni dinner, the VFW thing that we talked about a little bit ago, a lot of these things are fundraising events, like the rigatoni dinner. That's in partnership with the VFW, and that's a fundraiser for both VFW and for Wild Ops. But also, those kind of act two ways, because it's also a great opportunity for us to get the chance to talk to veterans. When we're at these events. I think it was in February, we had there was a big trout fest down in Texas that our organization attended, and we had some guys down there with a booth set up, just trying to get the word out and just we're trying to find those at-risk veterans. And that event alone led to like 3 or 4 applications that came in. That's what's working.
Yeah.
So the 5K is one of those things. Just promoting it and trying to invite veterans and supporters of veterans in, to get the word out about what we have to offer, and to try and find those veterans who are at risk. A few weeks, or not even a few weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, there's 2 veterans from my area here that committed suicide in 1 week, and it was really disheartening for me, and many others as well. But these are the type of people that you can reach. And I just wish so badly that I could have got to them before, they did that, because it's just a difficult situation, and so, yeah, some of the things that we're doing are specifically promotional. Some of them are specifically to raise money, but at all times, we're constantly looking to find that at-risk veteran and to promote and to get the word out there about what we do and what we offer. 22 a day is too many.
Exactly.
Trust me, yeah, I understand that. Can you tell us about some of these? So if you want to say like where I was going to ask, like, where are some of your trips, the trips that you guys take the vets to, and then like what kind of things could they can they experience? I know you said you get them there, you kind of get them away from their environment, which can be helpful on its own. What kind of things do you guys do? I know you said it's faith based, which is great.
Yeah. So that's a great question. So yeah, we have several venues in different places all over the country. And every trip, the program remains the same, when it comes to the programming, but each trip is different. Each venue has its own amenities. We have trips in Montana where they go out into the mountains and they stay in a big lodge and they do trout fishing on the river there. And it's a great trip. We have guys right now down in Dayton, Tennessee, who are doing a bass fishing trip where we have, some awesome fishing guides down there who donate their time, and they all have pro bass fishing boats, and they take these veterans out on this huge lake that is used for lots of pro bass fishing tournaments and stuff like that throughout the year. So there's some guys down there right now in Tennessee. We got a trip in Arkansas where we take some guys down to the Little Red River and they do some fishing. We have a pheasant hunt that goes on. We have a hike at 11,000 feet in California at the Sierra Nevadas. We're working right now on a trip to Texas. We're working on a trip to North Carolina, and where we got some stuff in the works for a possible trip to Alaska. So, we have trips to many different places. And like I said, our goal is to get to 30 trips a year, is to be able to reach 300 veterans in a year. Right now we currently have 12 trips on the books for 2022, and we're still taking applications. So anybody who's interested, go to the website and apply. But we're constantly trying to build, our reach, across the United States.
Yeah, all of those trips are like the perfect bonding experience because they're so long. Like you're hunting all day, you're fishing all day.
Yep.
So those are perfect events, perfectly planned strategically.
Yeah, if you visit our Instagram page, which is Wild Ops for Vets, you'll see a lot of photos on there from the different. You can actually click on each trip that takes place at the top of our Instagram page, and you can see a slideshow of photos from the veterans who are out there, even right now as we speak. And just a little bit back to your question, what you asked, what do we do? Besides the hunting and besides the fishing and the ATV riding and all that stuff that we do out in the wild, what we try to do is we try to bring our activities back to what's commonly natural in a man's heart, which is being in the outdoors, and doing these things in the outdoors. And everybody comes to our program, we give them a book that's by John Eldredge called Wild at Heart. And it's a phenomenal book, and we kind of talk about that. We talk about some of the things that are, some of the chapters that are in that book while we're out there, and we talk about, while we're sitting on the fire, we talk about how we relate the things in that book to our lives and about how we relate those things to combat. And it's very powerful. One of the most powerful things that hit me when I was going through a Wild Ops trip the first time was just sitting around the fire and hearing stories from other guys who had chewed the same dirt as I did in Fallujah or wherever. And, that helped me to open up and share my story. And that was a really powerful thing for me.
Man, it sounds like such a, like I said, man, the perspective of that, like being able to have that bond, with a group of people, it's like being able to have the bond with people that you never met before, but it's still that same bond, that's probably the coolest part to me. Of course, the challenges of serving, of course, but that's something that sticks with you forever. I've worked with Vietnam era vets for many years, and but it was always the same though. No matter what, it's always the same kind of like thoughts of brotherhood or camaraderie. It's no matter which era. That's probably always the coolest thing that I loved about people that serve, military people. Even my sister, hearing her, the things that she talked about that she went through. And now that she's a counselor, and she does mental health for her nonprofit, and like just man, that camaraderie that you guys have is it's amazing, man. So those trips sound very powerful. Like I can see, on the outside looking in, how those trips can be, like you said, life changing. If you're in a spot where you just down bad, maybe something like that can be completely change your point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And, I know I touched on this a little bit, and I don't know what your guys' stance on this is or whatnot, but, like I said, Wild Ops is faith-based, and one of the most powerful things that happens on our trips is, we don't require that you are any certain religion. You could be an atheist, and you're welcome to come on one of our trips, but we let you know up front, we are faith-based. We are a Christian organization. And one of the most powerful things that happens almost on every trip is that somebody gets out there and they start hearing these stories, and they're moved, and we start praying for each other, and they're moved to take a next step in their faith, and they end up giving their life to Christ right there. And so, it's happened many times where a guy will be on the last day of the trip, and a guy will walk down to the freezing cold water in the river and get baptized. It's really a powerful thing that takes place on these trips. And I would say probably about 80% of the trips that we have, somebody ends up giving their life to Christ, which is also very powerful.
That's amazing.
80%.
Now, don't quote me on that.
That's really good, man. That's great.
That number out there on the top of my head.
Hey, whatever the percentage is good, though.
It happens very often. Sometimes it's one guy, sometimes it's two or three.
That's
hey, just them willing to, looking for a change is a great thing, regardless. But then to start being on a different, to be on a different path.
Yeah.
Like, cause most people, once they start doing drugs, they can't stop.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. It's literally an act of God that I was able to quit doing drugs. It's a miracle. And in fact, when I was in the middle of my addiction, I honestly believed that I was going to either live like that forever or die in my addiction and either overdose or be put in prison. That's just a reality that I had come to acceptance with. And like I said, I was in addiction for about 6 years, every single day. And I never thought I'd ever get out of it. I tried 12 different times in and out of rehab. And every time I got out, I would just go back to relapse. So it was really an act of God that things happened that intervened to get me out of Los Angeles and to get me into the treatment that I needed. And just, I don't know how else to explain it except for it was just an act of God.
We gotta get you back to do a different show, man. I got all type of stuff I'm brainstorming over here.
Yeah, I had a lot of questions, but I'm like, let's stick to the 5K. Go ahead.
No, yeah, the 5K. I mean, it's coming up here in a few weeks, and I'm super excited about it. It's I think we have as of today 137 people signed up, but however, we have a virtual option. We have Wild Ops reaches across all 50 states, and so a lot of them who are signed up are actual from other states and other countries. We got people from Japan signed up. So we have some troops, we have some friends who are stationed in Okinawa who are signed up to run it. So so a lot of those signups, I would say probably 60 or 70 of those signups are virtual. So but we're super excited about it. As far as the 5K goes, just some information about that. You can sign up at the website. Obviously the 5K race starts, registration and check-in starts at 9 a.m. and the race itself starts at 10 a.m. Their medals go to obviously the first, second, and third place male and female finishers, and then the first 100 finishers after that will also get a 5K medal. And we have cash prizes for the first, second, and third place finishers. There's going to be a raffle drawing where we have some really cool prizes. Cleveland Browns donated an autographed football. We're going to be raffling that off.
Hopefully Baker didn't sign it.
Yeah, it's funny because when they sent me an email, confirming that they were going to sponsor us, and it was right about a day or two after that whole incident happened with Baker Mayfield, and I was thinking to myself, man, I hope it's not a Baker Mayfield. But it wasn't. I'm not going to say who it was, but it was not Baker Mayfield. He is a starter. He is a star player, but I'm not going to who that is. I'm going to leave that a secret. Yeah, we got that going. The raffle, and then after the race itself, there will be a meal provided. We got a bunch of pizzas donated by Hungry Howie's, and so there will be that provided. And then that same day, but in the evening, is the rigatoni dinner at the VFW, and that's in Salem, Ohio. But anybody who might possibly be around in that area and wants to stop in, the rigatoni dinner is also a benefit dinner for Wild Ops, and that's rigatoni, salad, bread, and cake, and drinks and all that for $8.
Yeah, we were just talking about it before we came on. Like, man, it's not a bad little deal right there. Yeah. All right, Mark. So I just want to give you the floor for anything. I know you plugged the race. Like just anything you want to leave us with. And like I said, me and you will be in contact. But anything you want to leave us, people, veterans, anything?
Yeah, definitely. I guess the biggest thing that I would like to leave you guys with is not necessarily for you guys, but for anybody who might be listening to your show, which from my understanding is a pretty popular show in the area. So congratulations on that. But anybody who might be listening to the show who knows somebody who's struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder, with mental health issues that are related to combat trauma or to their time in the military, please don't hesitate. Please reach out to us. We have guys standing by 24/7 that are willing to take that call. And we work with a multitude of other organizations, such as the PTSD Foundation of America, which is down in Houston, Texas, and other organizations. And we work closely with these organizations. And if a veteran comes, to us, and we determine that they need a higher level of care, we'll get them that level of care that they need. So we don't give up on them, and this is what we are all passionate about. Everybody on our team is 100% volunteer. Nobody gets paid on our team, and we are all combat veterans. And this is what we're passionate about, and this is what we want to do. And last thing I'd like to say is just I am just extremely grateful to you both for this opportunity, for allowing me to come on here and speak a little bit about our organization, about the 5K, and about veterans' mental health. It's something that I truly am passionate about, and I hope to make a difference someday. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
For sure, man. That's all you can ask for is trying to make a difference. Hey, that's Mark Stillion. I said it right? Right? You want to make sure. All right. Be sure to go to runsignup.com/wildops to sign up for the 5K. April 30th. What time is it? I forgot.
Yeah, the check-in starts at 9 a.m. The race starts at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay. Like I said, runsignup.com/wildops to find out more about the organization. Of course, go to wildops.org. Mark, man, we definitely appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you at the race for sure, and much success. And man, looking forward to talking to you more for sure.
Hey, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Look forward to